Welcome to today's Partner Web Conference, delivering a sizzling demo. And to kick us off today, we have Fabio Arujo. Fabio, you now have the floor.
Hello everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us as we continue our Dynamics webinar series. I am Fabio Araújo, and I lead our global Dynamics corporate and corporate premier businesses. So great pleasure to have you here. Just as a reminder, because we usually get this question, yes, this presentation and the webinar recording will be shared with everybody very soon, so stay tuned for that. So as I mentioned, today we continue our webinar series. They have actually been designed to help you understand how to position Dynamics 365 and our value proposition to our joint customers and prospects, and actually so that we can bring to the market some meaningful business applications which is much more than actually CRM and ERP if you have not kept up with Dynamics 365 recently. We currently have a business built purpose solutions where we're bringing together our customers, processes, and much more importantly, I think even these days, business intelligence to make a meaningful decision for everybody in our audience. And we're bringing that into a single platform to open new businesses and opportunities to all of us. So as we continue this series, today we're covering how we can demonstrate and bring amazing experiences to our customers and prospects using Dynamics 365 and some of the One Microsoft approach and strategy into the conversation. And as the series continues, we actually then go into a much more complex and advanced topics to our partners and our sales teams to help you understand how to leverage the One Microsoft approach. And for that, then we'll be touching topics such as Azure integration, extensibility, analytics, more intelligent elements into the conversation. So, kind of very meaningful, very comprehensive series of topics that we're covering in this entire webinar series. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Renato, who will start actually the session, and happy selling to everybody.
All right, thanks, Fabio. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Renato Lidia. I'm a Dynamics 365 architect, and this is the third part of our series. On the previous two sessions, we covered an overview of Dynamics 365 apps and also an overview of Dynamics 365 add-ons. Of course, with only 1 hour per session, we cannot go in depth on each app or each add-on, and that's why we always share the resource links that you can use to learn more and to enhance your skills on Dynamics 365. And we really expect you to do so. And if you did your homework for the past 2 weeks, and I'm sure you all did, by this time, you already have your demo tenant up and running, and you gain more knowledge around Dynamics. So now it's time to use all that to build a sizzling demo to deliver to your customers. And a sizzling demo, it's not about delivering, just highlighting or showcasing Dynamics 365 features. It's more on how you build a demonstration flow that will truly connect to your customers' business needs and talk to them on the same language they expect you to do so. You must understand your customer and make sure that Dynamics will translate all their business needs and solve their pain points with technology, with automation, with process orchestration. So today we're going to cover the techniques for you to do that. Again, we only have an hour here, so we will share some very useful links so you can go deeper on this topic. Especially, we have some very good research in DLP, and Barb will point that out at the end of the session, that you can really become an expert on demoing Dynamics 365. But it's important to say that demoing a solution is something that requires practice. You have to do it over and over again and learn from your mistakes until you become an expert and you can do it.
Renato, I hate to interrupt, but I'm not seeing the slides advancing.
I'm still on the first one.
You're still on the title side? Mm-hmm. My apologies.
No problem. Thank you. All right. So for today's agenda, can you confirm that the slide moved?
Yes. Yep. Thank you.
All right. So for today's agenda, we'll cover what are the main steps to deliver a Sizzling demo. Then Barb will talk about some very important topics when you're delivering your demo remotely, some tips and tricks, and we'll share the research for this session and talk about what's coming next. Before we start this topic, let me ask for Doug for some help here so he can post some questions. And please, if you can, go to the polling questions and answer. The first questions for you guys is, how many demos do you present in a week? So let's give some time for the question to show up for you. And I'll wait for Doug to come back with the answers.
And it looks like the majority of you do an average of 1 demo per week, with about 50% of that doing either not available or 2 to 3. Then a small percentage of you do about 2 demos a week.
All right. Yeah, 2 to 3 demos a week is what we see most of the time for pre-sales engineers. If you're a salesperson, usually you are on the 1 demo a week. More than 2 or 3 demos a week might be too much. You might not have enough time to prepare for all of that. So let's move to our second question here. And the question will be, how much time do you prep for each demo? That's a very important one. Let's give some time for you all to answer. Let's check the results.
And for this one, it would appear the majority of you spend about 3 to 5 hours on average, with equal amounts also doing more than 5 hours or 1 to 2 hours.
Awesome. So that's a very good response. If you are doing a feature demo, all you're doing is showing what Dynamics can do. You can do it really quick, but the thing is, hardly this kind of demo, a feature set demo, will connect to your customers' business needs and values. So spending more time preparing for your demo and making sure that what you're going to demo will connect directly to your business needs, your customers' business needs, that's the most important part, and that requires some time and additional effort. So the main 3 steps to deliver a Sizzling demo is, first, you have to spend some time preparing the environment. Once you have that done, and it's aligned to what your customer expects, then you have to prepare a story that will tell your customer how they can be more productive, how they can orchestrate their processes, how they can sell more, how they can deliver a better customer engagement. So it's a story that will tell and show how they will achieve their business needs. See that we are not discussing features here. We're talking about business values. And the last step is effectively delivering the demo. So let's start with step 1. And there are several phases that you have to go through to prepare for the demo. I would say that the most important one is research. There are so many different places that you can go to research the information you need to prepare for your demo. And sometimes it's internal information. If you are, let's say, a pre-sales engineer, you have to talk to your salesperson, the account manager, and truly understand their view of that opportunity and what problems, what business needs, what pain points you want to solve with your demo. Then you can go to the internet, to your customer's company website, read some analyst reports, understand how they behave and position themselves on social media, leverage insights and LinkedIn to gather information about your customer and your customer's customer, so you can use that in Dynamics. Remember, as we presented last week, if you use insights and LinkedIn, you can so easily find, let's say, your customer's customer information, add to Dynamics as accounts, as contacts, have that synced with logo and real information, and when you deliver your demo, they will understand that you're talking about their customers, not some customer that you came up with that you made up. Understand their industry. Go to YouTube, see how your customer delivers their proposition message. What do your customers tell their customers? So you can be aligned to the terminology and to the way they deliver their messages. Because a business solution like Dynamics should behave like your customer behaves. They want a solution to be intuitive and help them drive their business, and they don't want to have to adapt to the solution they are acquiring. And it should be the otherwise. So you must understand how they behave and create a solution that will adapt to their specific needs. One thing that's really, really important, sometimes we just don't do it. We just talk to our account managers, we talk internally, we do some research, but we don't conduct a discovery call. This is so important. Start with very specific questions. Understand the facts about your customer. Then assess the current situation. What's going on? Why they are looking for a new solution? What are the pain points, the business needs, the issues that you need to solve with this solution? And why? What are your customers' strategies for the future? Where they want to be in the short term and in the long run, and how the technology and the solution can help them get there. And it's also so important, don't forget, if you can get some screenshots and sample data from your customer, that is perfect. Not because you're going to add that to your slide or your presentation and say, so this is what you have, this is what you're going to get. It's more like you truly understanding what the users play with and what they see. You can have the terminology. You understand if they are talking about contracts or agreements, or if they call a customer a client, a customer, an account. So you can adapt by looking to it, the terminology that you're going to use on your demo, the fields, and also you go to the room or remotely, understand, knowing what your audience are used to see. So they see this screen every day, and I need to make sure they understand how this will transit to Dynamics. Then once you have all this information, you can move on and build your demo. So you're gonna create your environment around that information. Then you have to personalize. Dynamics is so good at it, so you have to personalize. Try to avoid a standard vanilla Dynamics demo and feature set demos. Instead, make sure you get the color scheme, the logo, again, the name conventions, the terminologies, and add all that to Dynamics. Make it look like it is already their solution, so they feel comfortable with it. Make sure you will build something that will excite. And by doing that means that whatever they're going to see in Dynamics, even if you don't mention it during your demo, those things will relate to them automatically. So maybe you have this whole form that you're going to touch on 2 or 3 fields and talk about those, but all the results, the names, the customer names, they all belong to their realm. So they will understand and say, oh, that's exactly what I need. That's so cool. I have the information that I need there. And you didn't even mention, but I can see that it's there. Then you polish it. You make sure it looks great. It's rendering okay. You test on your mobile phone, on your tablet, on your browser. You make sure you add pictures. You don't leave like the user with no face. You don't leave the accounts and the contacts with no picture on it. So you make sure everything is looking great. Then you verify. You check that everything is okay. You bring someone in, maybe the account manager, and go through it over and over till you are confident that everything looks amazing for the demo. And then you're ready for step 2. Step 2, it's really, really important. It's the storytelling part. So Robert McKee said that storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And we use storytelling for everything. We teach our kids with storytelling. We understand the world through storytelling. We learn at school, at the church, everywhere through storytelling. So we need to apply the same concept to technology because that makes something that connects to human beings, not necessarily or specifically to one customer or the other, but to everyone as human beings. So we need to tell a story and not to throw a huge set of features to your customer and say, okay, try to realize which ones are the best one for your business. No, show them, tell them how they are going to effectively resolve a business issue they have today. And there is a way to do that as well. You have a brief introduction. We're going to talk about that in a second. And your story should have excitement peaks. So you have a good opening, a strong opening, and then you have small chapters, small stories that will solve very specific needs that will peak at some point, and they are no longer than 15 minutes. You need to create some suspense. That having that dramatic pause, it's important. Something is about to happen, and you're going to show that. You don't need to hide anything in advance. You can tell them, and you should tell them what they should expect from that moment, from that demo, and end at the highest excitement level possible. Make sure that when you finish your demo, they are all smiling in the room. So you have to play with both minds and hearts, and they are both equally important. Keep that in mind. One good way to do that is what we call the tell, show, tell. You can have some slide decks that will help you drive that, and stage that portion of your story. So instead of saying, oh, I'm going to show you now customer insights or relationship insights or LinkedIn integration. No. Now I'm going to tell you how you're going to get your day started. So let's say you're at home having your breakfast, reading the news, and how can we help you at that moment, and what's going to how's your day going to look like from that moment on? And then you can explore features, but in a business context. Like you could explore how social will allow the users to stay connected, and how Power BI can quickly deliver insights and a good understanding of the business, or maybe if you're on your story, this person is a salesperson going to the customer side, some insights about the customer and their business, and how the process guidance provided by Dynamics will help them to be on the right stage for that opportunity, having all the needed information and be ready to quickly move on to the next stage and do business. This is just an example. And then once you tell them what you're going to do, you move to your demo, you show that. Once you finish showing all that features or all that business process and all those things together to solve a business issue, then you come back and tell them again what business values were showed and what pain points were resolved. So you tell, you show, and you tell it again. This is really important and really efficient. Another example. So now you're on the go. You're moving you're driving to or moving to your customer site. You can explore and show how mobile apps can help them stay productive. Not only for that specific opportunity, but managing everything else that's happening, because things don't stop while you're working on one specific customer. They are all happening at the same time. And how you can do that very easily with an intuitive interface built for a mobile device. And how you can let's say using Power Apps, develop and deploy apps that will make your life easier and requires no or very few code. So you have the story prepared. You understand what's important. You have your scenarios. You have your peaks. You know what you're going to show. You're going to use the tell, show, tell model. And you have your environment ready, so you have everything in your hands to truly deliver the demo. So now is the time. You are in front of the customer, remotely or in person, and it's time to deliver the demo. What do? The introduction, the first 30 seconds of your demo are the most important ones. Don't waste those 30 seconds. The way you deliver your opening statement can decide if people will really pay attention to you or not. This is so important. And by saying that, I'm telling you, the presenter, you're not the important part of your demo. I am not the important part here. The important part is what you're going to present. It's how you're going to solve your business, the business issues your customer has. So don't waste those 30 seconds on you. Probably they know you already. If they don't, you have time to present yourself later on. Start your demo with something that's impactful and makes sense to them. So you get their attention, and later on, you can talk about yourself. Make a bold claim at the beginning, something that will set the stage and create this mystery environment. They want, oh, why is he saying that? How is he going to solve this issue that he just talked about? Present a problem. Make them laugh. Always good. We don't need to be serious during the demo all the time. And be very clear. Set the expectation up front. That's why the tell shall tell is so important. Get the buy-in. Make sure that they understand what you're going to deliver, the points that you're going to touch, and get the buy-in from your audience. Make sure they understand what you're going to present and they agree with that. This is so important. There are so many different presentations that you just keep saying and talking for like 40 minutes an hour, and at the end someone raised their hands and said, yeah, that was cool, but that was not what I was expecting. I was trying to understand marketing, and you present service that's not aligned to what I need. And sometimes we do make those mistakes. We believe that we know what they need, and we keep throwing at them, and that's not how it works. Get the buy-in from the beginning. Make sure you create some impact, like using videos, image, a statement. Maybe you can start saying 50% or more of all CRM implementations fail, and yours is about to fail too. And that's why. Everybody will listen to you. So, what? You're trying to sell me that? And you're saying that's going to fail in advance? Why? And then you explain what's necessary for a successful Dynamics implementation or CRM in general implementation, and why you as a partner is the most skilled and right team to make that happen. So bring their attention to you. And then you go to the main story. Again, make sure they will connect to that story. The story must be personal, must connect to them as human beings, and not to only to their roles or to their business, because people do business. It's not machines talking to machines all the time. You need people, and you're delivering demos to people, so you must touch them personally. You need the wow effect. You need something that will make them get back to the conversation and say, wow, that's exactly what I need. Or I didn't expect to see that. That's incredible. And make sure you deliver the business message accordingly. They must understand that that solution is for them. And they must truly understand what you're solving and how you're doing that. That's why tell, show, tell, again, is so important. Sorry. At the end, remember, you should end it with the high excitement level possible. Always be open to questions, but be sure that the questions will not jeopardize your entire demo. Make sure you know how to handle questions. If it's something that you can answer right away, do it so. If it's something that will require additional knowledge and you need to come back, say that. You're not obligated to know everything all the time, so you can bring some additional experts to the conversation. Or if something that will require some additional time, park it and leave it to the end. If you have a demo flow and you break it and say, oh, yeah, I can answer that by showing you this and this and this and that, and then you try to go back to that demo flow, it won't work. The connection is lost at this point. Get the buy-in for the next steps. Finish your presentation knowing what's going to happen next. If you're going to move to a POC, if you're going to move to a proposal, if you're going to move to an executive meeting, make sure you end your presentation by having the buy-in for that. And leave something behind. During a 30-minute session, or 40-minute session, an hour session, you deliver so much. Make sure you have some maybe a video of what you delivered or a PowerPoint with screenshot that go through the scenarios, something that they can go back to and say, oh, yeah, I remember that, and even share. For example, this presentation we're doing here today, I'm not going through in detail on all these steps, because this usually is a workshop that requires the entire day to present. But we are leaving at the end all the necessary research for you to come back to the slides and connect those research. Okay, so now I know how to know more about storytelling, about building the demo, delivering the demo. So you get all that. And with that, I'll hand to Barb to move on with remote demo engagement.
Thanks, Renato. All right, before we start my session, we have a poll question for you. So, Doug, if you could throw up our question. So you guys will be able to access the polls kind of down by the messages. There'll be a little button that'll bring you over to the polls. And our question is what percentage of your demos are remote? I want to get a feel for this as we talk about things to do differently for a remote session. All right, and do we have our results?
Yes, it looks like the majority of you would say 1 to 25%, and then roughly equal numbers for the remaining 3 options.
All right, awesome. Thanks for participating. So now that we have an idea of what a Sizzling demo is, how you need to kind of do some research on that company and find out what it is that they are looking for, let's talk about how we can deliver this type of a demo remotely. So in a remote presentation, there are even more possible distractions than when you have a face-to-face demo. It is very easy for your attendees to just pop out and check on that one quick email or catch up on their social media on their phone. I'm sure a lot of us have done that on the call today too, and hopefully if some of you are doing that right now, I'm pulling you back in by making you feel guilty. But you as the presenter, you must engage your audience right away in a remote meeting and then continue to keep them engaged throughout the session. So we recommend 4 to 6 engagements in an hour demo. So every 10 to 15 minutes, you're trying to re-engage the audience and ensure that they're still listening to you. There's many engagement tools that you can use, and we'll talk about a few of them that you can use within Skype for Business, since that's the tool that we use every day. But before we do that, let me throw out our second polling question out to the audience. Kind of want to see what tools do you use when you're doing your remote presentations or your remote meetings. Get a feel for what the audience uses. How are our results looking there, Doug?
The significant amount of people use Skype with a small percentage of GoToMeeting, and then just about 4 responses for WebEx and other.
Okay, excellent. Since Skype is the medium that I use every single day, I thought I would pull out some of the different tools that we could use for a Skype session that you're aware of. So the first one would be annotation. So, actually having someone engage and write on your PowerPoint, or even as a presenter yourself, you could highlight certain areas. Just a quick note on this. You need to be in a presenter mode to use this type of a tool. So I would say it's probably for more smaller audiences. Like in our audience here, you guys are not in presenter mode. You are just an attendee, so you would not have the ability to actually engage. And that's why we use polls to engage you and sending out our links and our messages, because that is the way that we're going to do that for you. But annotations are great for a smaller audience and keeping them engaged and using that. The other one that I just talked about already too was polling or surveys. So that is a great way to do it if you have a larger audience like we have today. It really helps you to kind of gather information from the attendees on their skill set, or for us, it's like, do you do remote demos? Is this even of interest to you, and what tools do you use? So what we talk about is going to be relevant to you. And the last tool I like to use is a whiteboard. A whiteboard is really nice. We're going to put that out there and have people type in information. This is really nice if you're doing a demo for a customer. You could have them write down what are some of their issues that they're having, some of those business issues that we need to uncover to make our demos great. We could type that into the whiteboard, and then you can save that. And as Renato said, it's nice to have some follow-ups. You could include this whiteboard with a follow-up. If you did a follow-up screenshots of your demos, and include that in there, because that's their, in their own words, what kind of business issues they're having. All right. So I'm going to show you a few of the engagement tools that we've discussed within Skype for Business. So the first one I'm going to show you is annotations on my PowerPoint. So since we're in a large group and I can't have you guys participate, I'm having the people on the call participate with me. So I have a slide, and I'm going to ask my audience here to put a green check mark on where you're located. So you can see here that we get some more green check marks in there, and I've actually seen this used in a lot of the presentations that I'm a part of, and it really kind of pulls me in because I like to see where all the other attendees are from. I'm from Minnesota. I like to talk about the weather a lot. That's what we do in Minnesota. Sometimes it's very cold like it is now, but that is something that kind of draws me into the presentation and makes me start paying attention again, because I like to see where everyone else is located, maybe dream of some warmer weather for myself. All right, so let's, we've already seen an example of polling because you guys have participated in that, so let me share a whiteboard. All right, so now you can see my whiteboard has come up, and I've pre-set up this whiteboard. I created it already, so it's nice and easy in my demo that I can pull it up. But now I'm asking my participants, what percentage of your demos, are remote? So people can come in here and type in their answer, and we can get a lot of information from the individual people out there in the audience. So again, another thing, as I mentioned before, is being able to keep this information so that they are able to attach that to your leave behinds. All right, let me switch back over to my presentation again. All right, so when you are going to have audience participation, it's very important to them to show them how to participate. When I first was asked to kind of participate and do a whiteboard or to do some sort of polling, I didn't know how to do it. And so then it kind of gets to be frustrating for that end user. So for the example here in Skype for Business, they have a little pen that location at the upper right-hand corner of their presentation there, and if they click on that, that's going to give them all the different ways that they could annotate on that PowerPoint or that whiteboard, whether if they want to type, if they want to put those little green check marks, or we have a lot of other things they could put out there, or if they want to actually write or highlight. But the important thing is to make sure that you show that audience how to participate so that you don't lose them at that point. Here they are ready to participate. They can't find it. They don't want to raise their hand and ask what they think is a stupid question. So make sure that if you are using this audience participation, that you show them how to do that right when they get started. All right, some other engagement options that you can use is your camera. It's nice, again, in a smaller audience, making sure that you have good connectivity to show who you are, especially if you're doing a remote demo. It's nice for them to see who's actually doing that demo. Unfortunately, not something that we were able to showcase for you guys in today's presentation. The other thing you can do is add some videos. If you have a short video, you could show it inside of there. The other thing is putting links to blogs or white papers inside of the audience, kind of like we were doing today, and giving you your resources. This is a request that I frequently get from people when I'm presenting, is they want that link right away so that they can bookmark it rather than waiting for that deck to come out. So that is something that we have started to do, and I take that as a good sign that they're eager to consume that information. They want to get out there and make sure they remember where that information is at. As Renato said, pictures are worth 1,000 words, so making sure that you're using pictures inside of your presentation as a part of your demo too, so that it just adds to the whole story. This picture here, I know exactly more that it's in the morning because I see that coffee cup in that newspaper. And I know that that is some like a morning ritual to read the paper and drink coffee. Using build slides. I used to not be a fan of build slides, and I'd always just run, oh, let me build this out, and then everyone would be like, oh, that's so annoying. But if you use build slides in the correct manner, it really keeps the audience listening to what you're talking about rather than trying to read ahead on that slide. Again, the slide should just kind of give you a bullet point of what you're going to be talking about, and then you want that audience to be back listening to you. So it can be a really effective technique, especially if you're working on remote presentations. All right, some other considerations for remote demos. So just like you need a script for your demo, you also need to script out your engagement with the audience. So before our call today, we talked about when we're going to have our polling questions come out to you guys to make sure that, and that is our effort to engage you. But we wrote down exactly when those polling questions were going to be coming out. If you're going to be putting out maybe some links to some blogs or some white papers, make sure you know when that is going to be occurring during the presentation and whose responsibility it is to actually take that on and put that out and make sure that they have that link so that they're ready to paste that in. So here's kind of a little demonstration of what that would look like, kind of lining out whose responsibility it is, what they're going to do it, and what time in the presentation. All right, have a second person that is assisting with your call, a moderator. They can help monitor that Q&A window so that you don't have to worry about it. They can help with any technical issues. If someone is unable to hear audio or video, they can help them walk through that. They can even take over if you're having audio or internet issues. I've had that happen with myself. My Skype session all of a sudden was not working right when it was my time to present. So I had to quickly restart my Skype and join again. But if my teammates took over for me to kind of talk through that quiet while I was coming back in, but if I didn't have anyone with me, everyone would have just had that blank time, no voices, and could have been easy for them to just disconnect, thinking that there's going to be issues. If it's in a large event, you may want 2 or 3 people assisting if you're anticipating many questions. That's why with the larger group that we're having with these sessions, we're making sure we have multiple people that can answer questions so we can get those answered for you guys during the event. And then keep in mind, you may have to learn some new technology. This was something new for me to learn when I started doing remote demos, was using like the annotation and how to do polls and surveys and whiteboards. It was something that I just had to get out of my comfort zone and learn how to use it and be comfortable with it. So just remember, that's going to be a good growth mindset for everyone to learn some new skills. All right, with that, I have another polling question for you guys. So if Doug, you could put our third question out there. So we want to know, what issues have you faced if you have been doing some demos? And some of our options are internet connectivity issues, audio issues, demo tenant networking, maybe something else. But pulling you back into the presentation here to help me out with some of the issues that you've run into, because let me know, I've run into a lot of them. Just had one on my presentation yesterday. My demo tenant had timed out in one of my sessions, so I kind of had to work through that. All right, Doug, what results are we seeing there?
Yes, the majority of people have experienced audio issues, with about half of that having internet connectivity, and then some demo tenant not working issues.
All right, excellent. So thank you guys for participating in that and telling some of your stories. So what are some of the redundancies that we can build in to help ensure that we're not going to have any issues, that we have an actual good demo? So one of them is to have a backup internet connection. I work from home and I do a lot of webinars, and so I actually have two internet connections through two different providers, so that if something does happen with the one provider, I do have a backup. Now granted, it's going to take me a minute or two to switch over, but if it happens right before the call, I can get that done. If it happens during the call, my moderators know that I have redundancy and that I will be back on as soon as I can. Having multiple headsets. We all talk on the phone a lot. I have a wireless headset that has a battery, so making sure that that battery is fully charged, or I have one that I can plug into my USB port as my backup in case something weird happens with my headset. So having that set aside so that you're prepared if something does go wrong with that. I love working with multiple monitors. I'll have my presentation on one monitor, and then I'll have my demo tenant set up on the other monitor, so that I can quickly and easily move back and forth between my PowerPoint and my demo tenant and the demos that I'm doing. Screenshots of the demo. So this is kind of be twofold. So just in case you have some issues with your demo tenant and you're not able to actually get through your demo, having the screenshots of the demo is something that you could then switch over to and still walk the customer through what you wanted to show them. In addition, as Renato said, it's a great leave behind so that customer can kind of remember everything that you did in the demo. We used a lot of screenshots in the first series or the first session of this series, just because we had a lot of content that we wanted to get through, and it would have been very difficult for us to actually get that in a demo format and click everywhere. So sometimes if you have a lot of things that you want to show in your demo, then it might be best to just do it with screenshots rather than trying to set up all the different areas in the demo that you have to hit to. All right, so let's wrap up here with some tips and tricks. Number one, practice, practice, practice. I just can't say this enough. When we talked about how many hours that you guys get ready and use to prep for your demo, I was very glad to see the number of hours that are put in, because no matter how many times you have done the demo, make sure that you practice it several times so it's nice and smooth. I like to use the name of the customer when I'm doing my demos. If I'm talking about a certain sales manager, what his role is and how my application would be able to help them. If I pull in the name of Bob, the sales manager, it immediately makes him perk up. And this will work on too when you're doing remote demos, because it's kind of like the teacher calling your name when you were in school. As soon as you hear your name, you're going to perk back up and focus back onto that presentation. So I find using the name of the customer helps them relate to, this is really important for my job, and keeps them pulled back in for the remote demos. And regardless if it's a remote demo or an in-person demo, using multiple tabs for your demo. So if your customer doesn't want to see how you get to A to B, they want to see just A and B, and especially if it takes a while for something to load up. So you're going to click on something, and then it takes a while for it to load up. Just open that up in another tab, and then you can switch over to that tab, and it's just a much smoother demo. It's going to make everything go much better. Make sure you watch your pauses, especially in remote demos. If you have a lot of blank air, people are going to start to think that there's some audio issues, and the next thing you know, your IM window is going to fill up with, I can't hear anything, I can't hear anything. So make sure you watch your pauses. Sometimes these our ERP demos could go for a longer period of time, much longer than an hour, or if you're doing a virtual training that's an all-day session. And let's say you're going to give some breaks for the audience. So you'll want to make sure that you put up a screenshot that says, hey, we're taking a break. If someone had left and they come back and they don't see anything and there's no one talking, they don't know what's happening. So if you are going to take a long break, or maybe you're giving some people time to watch a video, just put that up on the PowerPoint so everyone knows what's happening. Make sure you connect to your sessions early so that you can upload your PowerPoint. Make sure that you cache through the whole deck. And then you get your demo tenant all set up and keep everything refreshed. So you want to make sure you have plenty of time to do that audio check. Make sure that any of your guest speakers are there and they have good audio. So just, standard best practice, make sure you are making the time that you want everyone coming to your meeting 30 minutes ahead of time. And then also record your session and listen to it. I know this is very painful. I hate doing it myself. But if you record your session and listen to it, you will hear maybe some of those longer pauses or some of those ums that you want to take out. So by recording your session and listening to it, and again, practice, you will get down exactly what you want to say in the least number of words so that it sounds very good. All right, with that, we're going to wrap up and walk through our resources. We did post these out on the message panel, but we have the link to the first session on DLP, which is Dynamics Learning Portal. For some of you partners out there, if you do not have access to Dynamics Learning Portal, it is something that has a cost associated with it. It is something that your company might have access to and you just don't have access to it. So find out if you have access to Dynamics Learning Portal. If so, the admin can grant you specific access to it. If your company does not have access to Dynamics Learning Portal, we have posted a link in the message panel. If we haven't done that, we should do that. Making sure that here are the steps that you could walk through to get a 90-day trial of it. Dynamics Learning Portal is the source for all of our Dynamics training. So there are hundreds of hours of in-depth training that are going to be on that portal that we want to make sure that you guys get access to. If you haven't done this yet and get your demo instance ready, that's going to be on demos.microsoft.com. And then here on Dynamics Learning Portal are some more sessions that really talk about how things that you would want to discuss and how to demo inside of Dynamics 365. This session was talking about discovery and kind of more how you want to deliver the session, not necessarily what features and functionality inside of Dynamics show for a great demo. But these resources out on DLP will give you that information. We have our official YouTube channel, which has some other really good videos. And then this concept of a sizzling demo was really pulled from the Demo to Win, which is a third-party training that if you really liked what we talked about today, you could explore that some more. And then also the Demonstrating to Win book is also another good read if you want to kind of pick up your game and offer some really strong demos. All right, and then we are finishing up here the third in our 6-part series of delivering a sizzling demo. Next week, we're up with partner resources, pricing, and licensing. The following 2 weeks, we're going to be digging into a little bit more from demos and kind of expanding Dynamics 365 into Azure with some of the AI capabilities and some of the infrastructure as a service that you could utilize for Dynamics 365. With that, we're going to close out the session. Thank you again for participating with us. And Doug, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, and we do hope that you found today's information helpful. And if you enjoyed the web conference or have feedback on how we can provide you with a better event, please let us know by completing our survey. It can be found under the Messages tab and is on a scale of 5 to 1, with 5 being the highest score possible. And this does conclude today's web conference.